Welcome back to the At Home with Roby show. Visit us today at andrewroby.com. That's Andrew, ROBY.com. I'm Ashley Davis along with Trent Haston. We're joined again by Clay Grubb. He was in the first segment. He hung around and stayed with us through the last two segments about Harkey, Tile, and Stone with Reed Harkey. And Clay, I know you know Reed, and he's done some work in your home similar to what he was talking about earlier on the show.
Yes, well, he hasn't done work for me. He's done work for my wife.
Let's make that very clear.
Much bigger deal.
Yeah, you come home and wow, I have a new countertop.
You sound like Chris Maynard.
And it's been great. We have loved it. It's been a really wonderful addition to our home that's really kind of wrapped it all up and been a great.
Yeah, they're great folks. I mentioned earlier on the show, he helped me out with my outdoor kitchen, which we talked about in an earlier segment. And they do a phenomenal job, great selections and everything. And Trent, I know you had a couple stories there you were talking about with Clay as well.
Well, first I wanted to say I saw Clay about 5 or 6 months ago and needled him, told him I was going to get him on the radio, and he bowed out and said, "Nah, that ain't my gig." So I was persistent, Clay. Thank you. It means a lot that you stretch yourself, come joke with us, and hang out.
And I
today.
hit you up at the TEDx talk. When I saw
That's
you there.
right.
Hey,
That's
I always
right.
say you got to hit somebody 3 times for it resonates. But it was funny. We were talking about having Reed on the show, and Reed's done so much work for Deidre out at Clay's residence. I think you share that residence. And so I thought it was wonderful. Clay builds these great buildings that have so much stone in them. So I'm like, Clay, man, it's a stone show, and you can come talk about stone applications to your praise. Like, I know nothing about stone. I'm like, well, come on, we'll have fun. But
He just knows who to call to get the right stone. That's
Exactly. I just call Andrew Roby.
There you go. But Clay, I went to a party that Clay hosted probably 3-4 months ago, and it was at Sky House 1, which is a new building y'all built uptown.
Yes, we're real excited about it. We opened Sky House this summer, and we're over halfway full, and I think we may have 1 or 2 residents that may be 25. But the average age is about 22, and they're living big. We didn't get that opportunity when we were coming along.
So let me guess, they're paying rent, but they don't have TVs on the wall?
I don't know who's paying for the TVs and the, but yeah, they probably don't have TVs. They all just have laptops.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They watch TV on the phone and go hang out by the pool on the 24th floor and have a big time.
Well, that's where the cocktail party was. I was wondering what floor. It was high, and it was a beautiful view of the city. And like you say, they're living big. It was very trendy, very swanky. I felt uptown when I was there.
Yeah, well, it's exciting. I mean, the millennial generation is the largest generation we've ever seen. They're the most educated generation you've ever seen, and they are being very picky about where they live. And places like Sky House and downtown Charlotte have all the amenities. The one thing I'll say about this generation is the one thing they have in common with all the generations before them is they still like to party. The one thing they don't have in common is they do not drink and drive, so they'll pay to live where the bars are. And so that's why downtown and South End is really one of the fastest growing multifamily submarkets in the world right now.
You told that story when we were there, and I've actually repeated that story because it makes so much sense. It's like an aha moment that they walk everywhere they go, you know.
Exactly.
Well, their whole life has been since they were born. It's all you've heard is "don't drink and drive," which is it's a testament to what we've done in the country to try to to educate people on the dangers of that. So
it's really wonderful to see, and I mean there's so much peer pressure to it, and so we're now underway with Sky House 2.
Wow.
And so we'll have over 1,000 of them living on that block, and it was great to get rid of that old rent-by-the-hour motel, and hopefully we'll have a grocery store there as well before long.
It's a whole other show.
So tell us, we were joking, you know, in the break while Reed was here talking about the mortgage business, and you were telling a story. It's a really cool story, but about somebody. Tell that story.
Well, yeah, no, it was fun. I said, I started out at 12 collecting mortgages and did that for 4 years, and you really got to know these folks. And so, we still had a few of them lingering around, and a couple years ago, Mr. McIntosh calls me and says, "Hey, I'm bringing my payment down to Charlotte. It was his final 360th payment 30 years later, and he packed up 2 kids, his 3 grandkids, drove it down to my office, walked in, handed me the check. I didn't know what to say. I said thank you.
But
it was really cool.
Kiss, right?
It was cool. Here's a guy showing his grandkids that, hey, we got an asset we own outright now, and no debt or anything. And so that was really cool.
And that is a great story, and it really ties back to both you and Trent when you talk about multi-generational families in your respective businesses, what you learned from your father and your grandfather. He's teaching that same lesson to his kids and his grandkids. It's got to be
absolutely.
I know you joke about it, but it had to be a good feeling to have.
No, it was really cool.
That, yeah.
And it's like you at 12. You said your dad or your uncle. That's how they got their allowance. They get a cut of the rent they go collect when they were 10 or 12. I get my daughters, and when I go collect rent, and I still got to go to the door and I'm just trying to teach them through lessons. But what I think it is, and Reed the same. From the outside looking in, everything's all grandiose and wonderful and fun, which, God bless, we've done well in life and we have a good life and we're very grateful. But you got to do the little things in life, and you got to learn these lessons and be taught these lessons and carry it on to the next generation to continue successful family businesses.
Yeah, there's no question that I'm very fortunate to have grown up in a business, learned these things early on. I loved it. It's what I did. I actually didn't play sports 12 through 16. I went to work every day, and so it's a great experience, and it's fun to see the folks that you impact, and the lives you can change.
That is great stories. Clay, thanks so much for.
Well, yeah. I say all the time on the show, tell the story. When I was a kid riding down 277, my dad would point at the buildings and say, "We owe Hugh McCall built this city." Well, Clay, I can now say with some of the cool properties that you developed and that you're taking care of, like where the chamber resides in Sky House. You're helping build the next generation of our city, and it's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Well, it's a team thing, and Charlotte is a city that is committed to improving its downtown and investing in the things that will make it a better place to live, and that's why we're here.
Great to be a part of it. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Ashley.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Trent.
Go
Always
Panthers.
enjoy it.
All right.
Absolutely.
It's a week off, but the Super Bowl is next week. For Trent Haston, Clay Grubb, Reed Harkey, and the entire Roby family of companies, I'm Ashley Davis. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next Sunday at 9 a.m. We hope you will be as well for the At Home with Roby show. Visit us today at andrewroby.com. That's andrewroby.com. And remember, you're always at home with Roby.
Wow, wow.